In 1968, the sudden loss of Robert F. Kennedy left 11 children fatherless, triggering a relentless cycle of tragedy the world blamed on a supernatural curse. But behind the grim headlines lies a chilling reality the media ignored. Some of the following are documented facts, while others are disputed, long-circulated rumors, but together they expose the dark truth behind America's royal family. Here are 8 chilling facts about the destruction of the Kennedy heirs. Fact number 1. The Lord of the Flies estate. Following the 1968 tragedy, RFK's widow, Ethel Kennedy, was left to raise 11 severely traumatized children at their sprawling Virginia estate, Hickory Hill. But there was no time for grief counseling, which the matriarchs viewed as a pathetic weakness. Instead, the estate operated like a high society Lord of the Flies. The children were subjected to the family's ruthless winner-takes-all philosophy. They were forced to play brutal, full-contact games, specifically encouraged to ignore severe physical injuries to prove their toughness. According to dark rumors from former estate workers, Ethel supposedly kept an informal mental ranking of her children, showing affection only to those who displayed aggressive behavior while ignoring the ones who showed emotional fragility. Before they even hit puberty, they were expected to carry the immense political weight of a lost generation. Fact number 2. The erased crash of the eldest heir. When you hand deeply traumatized teenagers absolute political immunity, disaster is inevitable. In August 1973, the eldest son and anointed political heir, Joseph Kennedy II, was driving recklessly on Nantucket Island. He lost control and flipped the vehicle, permanently severing the spine of his passenger, a young woman named Pam Kelly. In a normal world, Joe would have faced severe legal consequences. Instead, the legendary Kennedy legal machine swooped in. While Pam Kelly was left paralyzed for the rest of her life, Joe walked away with a minor traffic fine. There is a persistent, disturbing rumor that Kennedy fixers aggressively pressured local authorities to alter the initial accident report to downplay Joe's absolute negligence. The psychological lesson forced onto the siblings that day was clear: Kennedys are entirely above the law. Fact number 3. The hidden arrest. The crushing weight of their last name pushed many of the siblings toward extreme chemical escapism. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had already been expelled from elite boarding schools for rule-breaking before his public downfall. In September 1983, the flawless facade cracked violently when Bobby Jr. was found unresponsive in the restroom of a commercial flight landing in South Dakota. Authorities searched his bag and found a staggering amount of illicit substances. The political machine immediately panicked. There is a heavily whispered rumor in Washington that high-ranking Kennedy operatives threatened the local district attorney with political ruin to bury the police report. Furthermore, the rumor suggests the most damning evidence was deliberately lost before it reached the evidence locker. He was quietly sentenced to community service. Fact number 4. The scrubbed hotel room. Of all the children, David Kennedy was the ultimate PR liability. Deeply traumatized by his father's passing, he developed a severe dependency issue. Unable to maintain the smiling illusion, he was actively banished from family gatherings. In April 1984, while the family vacationed at their massive Palm Beach compound, 28-year-old David was exiled to a nearby hotel. After a massive substance binge, he was found dead on the floor of room 107. But the most disturbing part lies in the immediate aftermath. Unconfirmed rumors circulated among local law enforcement that Kennedy family operatives deliberately delayed calling the authorities. Supposedly, they entered the room first to scrub it, frantically searching for David's infamous little black book, a diary that allegedly contained the names of elite Washington politicians and shadowy suppliers. Only after the room was sanitized did the family allow the police to investigate. Fact number 5. The Collateral Damage of Spouses. The Kennedy meat grinder didn't just destroy RFK's children, it destroyed anyone who married into the machine. Look at RFK Jr.'s second wife, Mary Richardson Kennedy. When their marriage collapsed, the ensuing legal battle was brutally toxic. To protect Bobby Jr.'s political reputation, the Kennedy PR machine systematically destroyed hers. There are dark rumors that Kennedy lawyers deliberately fabricated portions of her leaked private diaries to paint her to the press as highly unstable. Isolated, publicly humiliated, and broken by the family's ruthless legal tactics, Mary tragically passed away under heartbreaking circumstances on their property in 2012. But the most chilling, verified fact happened after her passing. Bobby Jr. actually had her final resting place dug up and moved to an empty, distant stretch of the cemetery, effectively erasing her from the main family plot. Fact number 6. The Unthinkable Cover-Up. For years, Michael Kennedy was the golden boy who ran his brother Joe's political campaigns. But in 1997, a grotesque scandal detonated. Michael, a married father of 3, was exposed for having an incredibly inappropriate relationship with an underage household employee. The abuse of power started when the girl was just a young teenager. The political fallout was apocalyptic. According to Boston political insiders, when Joe Kennedy II found out, he physically attacked Michael in a furious rage, not out of moral outrage for the victim, but because the scandal was going to permanently ruin Joe's chances of running for governor. There's a persistent rumor that the Kennedy legal team didn't just intimidate the girl's family into absolute silence, they allegedly offered her parents a multi-million-dollar educational trust fund, disguised as an anonymous charity donation to guarantee they would never file severe criminal charges. Fact number 7. The fatal 50-mile-per-hour game. Desperate to prove he was still a fearless, untouchable Kennedy after his reputation was incinerated, Michael traveled to Aspen, Colorado, just months after the scandal. On New Year's Eve 1997, the family was playing their traditional aggressive game of ski football. The Aspen Ski Patrol had explicitly warned the family twice that day to stop, calling the game a reckless trap. But the golden rule of Hickory Hill was that Kennedys do not show fear. Michael, refusing to wear a helmet, flew down the mountain at nearly 50 miles per hour, caught an edge, and slammed headfirst into a solid pine tree, losing his life instantly. Rumors suggest that family members frantically tried to destroy the home videotape that captured the fatal impact, terrified that the tabloids would get hold of his final arrogant words. This is taking it to the extreme. Fact number 8. The generational echo. The most terrifying fact about the Kennedy machine is that it didn't stop with RFK's direct children. The psychological weight infected the grandchildren. In August 2019, the famous family compound in Hyannisport became a scene of tragedy once again when RFK's 22-year-old granddaughter, Saoirse Kennedy Hill, passed away from an accidental substance complication. Before her passing, Saoirse had bravely written public essays about her severe depression, hinting at the unbearable pressure of living up to the family legacy. Whispers circulated that despite her open cries for help, the rigid family structure was still ill-equipped to handle public vulnerability, preferring the old habit of maintaining the strong Kennedy facade. Her tragic passing proved that the trauma of 1968 was a generational burden, revealing the true nature of the Kennedy curse. It wasn't a supernatural phantom. The real curse was a highly convenient myth that covered up the devastating reality of raising traumatized children as political assets, granting them total immunity and demanding absolute perfection. The true curse was the suffocating reality of simply being born a Kennedy. If surviving meant abandoning your own humanity to protect a political illusion, would you still want the power of that last name?